Okay, guys, in this video, I'm going to share with you a course I've poured over 35 hours pouring my heart and soul into, which was essentially, the AI copywriting course for ecom that I wish I had 3 years ago. If we had this, it would have been an absolute game changer. I've been incredibly hesitant to save this and share this with the public because there's a part of me that just wants my agency to have these resources and continue to impress multiple 8, 9 figure brands on a consistent basis. We actually still have copywriters at our agency, but I built this because, like it or not, AI is going to be used, it's going to be leveraged. And today, it's not whether or not you're using AI, it's how sophisticated are you with your use of it? How sophisticated are your prompts? As someone who loves copywriting, who's a purist, who loves the art of persuasion, psychology, clever, creative writing, I think it's one of those arts that's never going to die. And I think you still have to be consciously competent of what makes up great copy. And the brands who are going to continue to grow and thrive are the ones who continue to carve out a unique brand identity through AI. But within this course, I have poured everything into it that will turn AI as just a tool, something that's just a tool for you, to honestly one of the most powerful email marketing companions you could ever wish for. It's probably going to save your agency tons of money on copywriters, especially if you're just getting started. And if you're a brand, this will probably, generate better outputs than the copywriters that you're using right now, or you can at least give this system to them as a companion. So I think no matter where you're at as an ecom business or as a D2C marketer, this is how you want to be leveraging AI when it comes to copywriting. I've created everything by flow. Without further ado, I'm going to get stuck in. So, welcome to the beginning of the end, because I think, and I've created this in a really cool diagram here to sort of illustrate my point. Welcome to the beginning of the end of average emails, the end of hollow copy, the end of wasting AI's potential, which I just see time and time again. At the moment, it's so easy, especially when you've been in this space for a long time now, to be able to delineate what's authentic, well thought out, and well-crafted copy, and times usually from someone who's in-house and lives and breathes the brand. That's really the only way I'm seeing high quality copy for a brand now. I can smell AI a mile off, but not with this system, because I haven't created just a course here. I've honestly created a system and a weapon for marketers who are ready to stop blending in and start building brands that move people. I think, and I solely believe, email marketing is one of those channels where you can be in front of your audience more often than any other channel, and at a, one of the most cheap channels to be in front of your audience consistently. So it's really an opportunity to build your brand or turn people off from you. And it's going to be a combination of the theme of the emails, the quality of the design and content, and the copy at the end of the day. So most people treat email as a box tick. The same with AI, they just use it. They're lazy with their prompt, and that's a big, big problem. And we treat it like performance. We treat it like art. It's a craft, a strategy, and it's a way to turn quiet browsers into believers. So this is for the ones who want to essentially become truly compelling with their words, the ones who know how to wield AI properly and how to use it to sound more human, not less. You're not here to become a prompt monkey. You're here to become a top 1% operator. So you've got some real secret sauce here. So what am I going to cover here? I'm going to cover our philosophy towards email marketing copywriting, because it differs from other styles of copywriting, other channels, for example, whether it be long form, sales letters, newsletters for sort of B2C kind of info product courses, things like that. How to use AI to 10x your results, advanced brand identity prompts, which is going to be like really where the source is at. This is like what is going to make you operate at like the top 1% of operators when it comes to using AI in your marketing right now. Advanced prompts for each flow, which I have not seen online anywhere else. Advanced campaign calendar creation prompts, and some secret or receipt insights after working with hundreds of brands. That's going to be at the end, and that's going to be some incredible source there. So first and foremost, the mindset to nailing good email copy. So good branded copy in email marketing can really make a lasting impression with your customers. And oftentimes it can be the difference between choosing you versus a competitor. If you think about it, if there's two brands pretty similar in product offering and even in lifestyle photography, the ones who have boring, generic, dry, no storytelling, no persuasion within their copy, versus the ones that hook you, create an emotional response, create a dopamine spike, and encourage and incentivize you to click through, they're going to be the ones who are getting your attention. And at the end of the day, those are going to be the ones who are winning. So doing it right will help you engage, connect, nurture, and convert your audience more, which will lead to more revenue. So everything will go downstream from this. The main goal for copy, and I think it's important to specify with email marketing, should always be to get people onto product pages. That should be the final funnel that converts. And this took me hundreds of hours, if not years, of battling against, because I believe that you had to inform, sell people within the email, but this is not true. You know, the goal is the product pages. When you think about an email or when you think about a marketing funnel, the product pages are designed to finally get the customer over the line. The ads, the emails are to get people onto product pages. So know your role within the basketball team. So after working with 100 brands and honestly so many different niches, skincare, cosmetics, wellness, athleisure, jewelry, luxury fashion, sustainable fashion, we have found key principles that are a common denominator in some of our best email funnels and customer journeys. And these principles are rooted in some of the greatest thinkers in copywriting, because that's what me and my team study, and just direct experience working with e-com brands day in, day out, and making them over 40 million in email revenue, which is kind of where we're floating at within the last couple of years. So there's a problem. And this is a problem that you need to understand first before we move on. People have massively short attention spans these days. People are dopamine depleted. They can hardly focus on their favorite show. They're scrolling their phone. They're on Instagram. They're doom scrolling YouTube shorts. Like, this is just the way of the world. Just watch your own behavior. And unless you've had a concerted effort to get out of this and to reset, you know, like the state of most people. And if you're an individual watching this, you probably are someone who's working on that, but most people aren't. And most people are your customers. So this is just something to really, like, a reality to really grasp and not be ignorant of. So for the most part, people aren't reading your copy. Like, ask your average Joe, like, do you read all of those emails? And they're going to say no. They scroll. So you probably have, as recent research that I've done indicates, and it's literally been going down year on year out, is you probably have 3 seconds on average to hook someone. So the question is, with your copy, how fast can you get your message across? So these are just a few things mindset-wise to consider. So let's go to key principles for Auraseed, and like at my agency, where we have over 30 people now at the agency. These are some of the key principles that we work with when it comes to email. And then we're going to get on to some of the AI prompts, which is, like, honestly, when it comes to e-com email marketing, is not on the internet anywhere. I've created this fresh, I've sweated, I haven't used AI to create it. It's all a labor of love, and I'm going to share it with you. So firstly, you want to make your copy skimmable. This is like a key principle, because this is going to be able to get your message across in a short amount of time for someone who's dopamine depleted. So this is also for designers to utilize. So you want to always guide designers to use appropriate iconography, infographics, design features to break up walls of copy and design your emails for skimming, not reading. So you want to think about skimmability when you design your emails. You want to make or when you write your emails, you want to make it concise. So a great copywriter will always ask, and I got this from the book Say It Well, which is a really, really good book. Could be used for public speaking. It's how Barack Obama pretty much breaks down why he was such a charismatic speaker and how he got his message across in a way. These are like foundational principles on like effective communication. How can I say the same thing with less words? So always, like, take what you've got, and then how can I say the same thing with less words, and chop it down and chop it down. We don't like hard rules at our agency, but we do aim for 100 to 160 characters within each email. So if you actually set yourself this benchmark, you're going to force yourself to try and be more effective with your word choices and chop away things which are a waste of space. So there are times where you're going to break the rules. That's okay, but there must be a good reason for it. There are a few brands that I'll break down in some of my other videos, or if you follow me on LinkedIn and see some of my brand breakdowns on Instagram or LinkedIn, you'll see what I mean. There are some brands who break the rules. You got to be damn sure you know why you're doing that, because more often than not, you might as well not reinvent the wheel. Cut away the fluff. Your message needs to be concise, engaging, and it will make it easier to design as well. Like, we speak to our designers every week, and we've got a world-class design team. I'm always asking them, how can we help you create more beautiful, visually engaging and stimulating email designs? And it's always like less dense copy, so I have more breathing space to use the copy to tell a story and to work it around beautiful imagery and email anatomy. So this is something you need to understand in the world of email design. You also want to know your voice, so you must know your audience, what resonates with them, and how to speak with them. I've done breakdowns of brands like Set Active, Reformation. They know who they're speaking to. You know, Amra, they know who they're speaking to. They know the slang, they know the lingo, they know the desires of their target audience. So they're going to speak to them in a way that's going to resonate. They're going to use words that resonate. They're going to communicate ideas, and also they're going to understand what actually is going to resonate from a pain point or a desire point with their audience as well. So know your audience, and this is going to inform all of your briefs as well. You want to add value? That's a key principle. So this can be in the way of storytelling, because entertainment, you know, is simply adding value. Like, there's a reason the movie industry is so large. Entertainment is not an underrated commodity. People just want to be entertained. So you can do that, and that is value. Storytelling can either entertain or actually communicate the value of your product in a really interesting way. You can showcase offers, which are just clear value, like money off, discounts, etc., promotions, or it could be about your product and essentially how your product will look good, make the customer feel better, support them in some particular way. But you need to be clear on how you're adding value in each email and tie everything to that value. And if you're a fashion brand, for example, and it's not as straightforward as, let's say, a supplement brand that's going to help you with a particular health goal, fashion brands are to make you look good, make you look cute, to make you look empowered, to make you feel empowered, to make you more desirable, all of those different things, to make you feel more confident, etc. Different copywriting styles. There are many different ways to engage customers: urgency, emotions, desires, moving away from pain, moving towards goals, curiosity. You must know when one style is appropriate and how to use it as a weapon. And last but not least, your copy should flow. So the goal is to keep the reader reading, to build a narrative and flow coherently. The best email copy builds like a swell. Like it went from one line to the other. You just want to keep on scrolling and it tells a story. Again, Reformation do this really well. So if you're at the stage right now where you're going, damn, okay, that all sounds really good and it actually makes sense, and I can kind of see where other brands have done that, and trust me, the more consciously aware you become of these key principles, the more you'll see it in other emails. So that's something I invite you to do, is to just like take this, go look at what other brands are doing and digest it, and sort of start to become consciously aware of when you're seeing these principles at play. But don't worry, I have baked all of this into some of the most sophisticated AI prompts for e-com email marketing, where all of these are carved and written into the very code of it. So this is going to be good stuff, but I want you to be consciously aware of it first before I share with you the source that essentially you're going to be able to use for free and like ride off all of the hard work that I've poured into this. And I hope it's going to make you really, really successful and save you a lot of time and make you a lot of money. I'm sure it will. Before we move on to that, huge copy mistakes, especially when using AI. Too much fluff. Saying so little with so many words. Make sure each character adds value, builds brand, or builds desire in a meaningful way. Have the ultimate fluff detector. You don't need to over-explain or fill words with space. At times we've had copywriters who almost want to prove their worth, and they just start pouring freaking copy in there to show like, hey, listen, I'm doing work here. We want quality over quantity. We don't want fluff. We don't want vanity copy, in a sense. And here's a great example, and I think this can be seen in so many different ways. So like, hey, glad you joined us, and as a little thank you, we'd like to treat you to a discount on your first order. You'll find your unique intro discount below, saving you 50% on your first order. Please note that this discount expires in 14 hours. So like, so much fluff here, which just is unnecessary. Oftentimes brands will also say like, oh, hey, welcome to our email list. You can expect new product drops, all of this. Use every moment to build the brand in a meaningful way, deliver value in a meaningful way, and add desire to click in a meaningful way. If you're not doing that, chop it away. Trust me, it doesn't need to be there. You don't want to tell people what they already know. You want to give them something new. You want to use every space to build the brand in a meaningful way. And if I just look at this, you're not even going to, even if there's some good stuff in here, you're not going to get to there after just how dry that was. This should have been in a header, should have been in a subheader, should have been in a CTA. I mean, if I look at this from afar, there's no way I know I've got an offer, and there's no way I know there's urgency attached to that offer. And that's a problem. So, to keep that in mind, have a big fluff detector. Another problem is boring and generic. So this often comes down to having no idea of your tone of voice and the customer that you're connecting to. Like, as soon as you know who you're speaking to, you're going to connect with them and you're going to be less boring. Like with your best friends or with people, let's say I'm a big mixed martial arts fan. I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I know the jiu-jitsu guys. I know that space. So I go down to a jiu-jitsu gym. Whereas in some domains, like let's say I'm hanging out, I'm going to just give a crazy example. Let's say I'm hanging out in I like music as well, but let's say I don't know anything about music and like I'm hanging out at like a classical music sort of get together. I'm not really going to be able to connect or be all that interesting. I'm going to come off as maybe as boring, generic, especially my takes on things are going to come off as boring and generic to that niche because I don't really know who I'm speaking to and I'm kind of bluffing it. So you really do need to know who you're speaking to. But again, to lean back into my example, when I go down to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy, no matter what city I'm in, I know the audience. I know all of the idiosyncrasies and all of the other kind of nuances and things that they may or may not appreciate, and oftentimes I always build great friendships and great relationships there and have really good connections, and it's because I know what they're into and I know the difference, the subculture of that. So you need to know the subculture of your audience as well, and when you really take the time to know that, damn, you're just going to write much better copy. And it doesn't mean that you write so much more, but there's going to be a subtext to how you write copy that's just going to be so much more authentic. And again, this is like, if you can really get AI to process this kind of philosophy, you're going to be unstoppable. You want to also stop settling this. And by the way, we're like covering huge copy mistakes right now. Settling for basic AI verbiage. So comparative statements. This isn't just, you know, a glass of water. This is a daily hydration mix for like your daily needs. I see that all the time. So like you need to become hyper aware of these like boring, very, very generic and cliche comparative statements, because any marketer or anyone who's like consuming a lot of content will start to see it. And they might not even register it consciously, but subconsciously they're going to be turned off. And it's not going to, you're just not going to do anything. It's not going to move them, because it's just going to be the exposure kind of a conundrum where people are exposed to things so many times they could become habituated to the same message. Cliche word choices, very similar AI formatting, dull, bloated subject line. So if you're writing copy and you, for example, just say to AI, hey, wait, write me a welcome series, even if you're giving basic bullet points and stuff, give me a subject line, give me a preview text. Like, honestly, it will give you like 10 characters. It will have semicolons all of the times in it. The preview text won't complement and won't flow and add additional context to the subject line. It just messes this up. It doesn't do it very well. And that's what you're settling for. You're not going to do impressive work. You're not going to do impressive brand building. And you're not going to be one of those brands where people go, hey, have you followed these guys' emails? They're doing really cool stuff. And they're always those brands, because we always ask brands who come and work with Vorseed, what brands do you love? And there's always those brands which they're like, these guys are doing things really well. I love the way that they write subject lines, their copy. I like the way that their emails sound. That's what you want to achieve. And that's what you should achieve. And if you're using AI really, really badly, you're just going to fall into a sea of boring and bland copy with all of these generic giveaways that you're using AI in a very unsophisticated way. And last but not least, too long. As mentioned before, keep it to 100 to 170 characters. Otherwise, you're going to weigh the email down and overwhelm the reader. You got 3 seconds here. So keep it short, refine your message, keep it concise, make it skimmable. And then it's the quality of the content within those 100 to 170 characters. And that's how now it segues on to how you're going to 10x your results here and pace using AI. So it all comes down to the quality of the prompt, how you train the system, how you program the system. This is now the skill. It's not that you're using it, it's how sophisticated are you? And the same is going to apply to when you're using AI for creative as well. And that's a whole other video. I'm working with some world-class AI, well, creative guys who are now sort of AI wizards, and they understand how to give details, everything from camera distance to frame pixelation to shadows to granulations to product details. Like, that kind of detail is what you need. Your outputs are going to be only as good as your inputs. And the reality is we're all lazy. Most of us are too lazy. And when it gets around to doing it, we're rushing things. We're all in a constant rush in life. So I created this all for you, not in a rush. I created this all for you with precision, with ultimate care. And we're considered as one of the most premium email marketing agencies in the game. I would not be using anything that I didn't think was world-class. And this is how you do world-class. So firstly, how to master AI email marketing copywriting. So using AI isn't a cheat code, but using it well is. So before we move on to some of the marketing secrets I've been holding on to, and I know I've been holding out here, if you've been holding on this long, I've got some really good stuff for you. Studying copywriting, know the sweet science, study other brands. Like I always say this is part of our weekly training with our team. You need to still be consciously competent of what good persuasion is, what good copywriting is. So just put, if you're a marketer and or a brand owner, and you're not putting 20 minutes a week away to just study some basic copywriting, I don't know, like if you need to. This will fuel your passion as well. It will inform the prompts that I'm going to give you. It will help you iterate in a way someone unskilled could never do, which is going to get you even better outputs. Then combine that with AI. You're going to be a top 1% marketer in today's age. So don't be lazy. Accept the long path straight away. And I've already done so much of the heavy lifting for you. So really, all you need to do now is just commit to becoming consciously competent of good copy. But now let's move on. If you want to become truly dangerous with email copy, it starts here. Because while most people settle for mediocre AI output, great marketers know the truth. What you get depends on entirely about what you put in. This is where the alpha prompt comes in. So done right, this step is going to elevate you from a solid email marketer to a strategic brand for any brand you work with. So if it's your brand, if you're going to go and build multiple brands, and it's going to help you be more creative, more persuasive, and way more efficient as well. So you've got more time for test, for strategy, for coming up with cool ideas, for making beautiful designs, and essentially for testing new ideas consistently, which is really where you want to be. You don't want to be in this conveyor belt just like trying to get things out. You want breathing space. That's what any good marketer needs, is breathing space, and this will give you it. But here is where most people slip. They rush the stage. They're lazy in their prompting. They build on shaky foundations and wonder why their copy doesn't convert or have that magical quality to it. Copy that Ogilvy would be proud of is the goal here. So this isn't just another prompt that I'm going to share with you. This is the groundwork for every line, flow, campaign calendar, hook, and CTA that follows. So get it wrong, the whole thing crumbles, but get it right, and suddenly your emails sound like they've been written by a seasoned in-house copywriter who knows the brand inside out. Top brands don't wing it. They build systems, they refine outputs. And, I'm talking to some really top level brands who are doing multiple millions a month, and this is where their head's at. So this is really, really like leading edge stuff. So that's how they rise above the noise, become icons, and turn emails into, yes, I've taken my jacket off, but yeah, become icons, turning email into a true brand building channel. I believe that you really need to strike the balance with email of becoming performance, obviously increasing conversion rates, sign-up rates, returning customer rate, but also building true long-term brand identity. And ultimately, that is the subtle thing which compounds all of those other key performance metrics over time. And you do that by building a brand that people take notice of. So now I'm going to give you the exact framework I use to build an alpha prompt for all of our brands here. We still, as I said, in-house copywriters. So we still, believe in having high quality copywriters, but this in the hands of a high quality copywriter as well is an absolute weapon. But essentially, you can build your own in-house AI copywriter with this as well, save yourself a ton of time and money, and have the same quality of outputs. Then I'm going to move into flow-specific prompts and the key editing levers that you can then use to customize to make things bespoke for your brand, your product category, your niche. So I really do recommend that you take this seriously. Everything from here relies on it. Ready? Let's go. So the first alpha prompt, I've essentially scripted out everything for you. So you want to be going into all of the details. You're a world-class D2C copywriter and retention marketer, trained to write high-performing, emotionally driven emails that match tone, mission, and psychology of the brand that you're supporting. You understand the difference between flows and campaigns. You know when to rise, to be concise, when to build story, and how to use emotional triggers to build loyalty, drive revenue, and deliver real brand value depending on the goal of each email. You write like an in-house expert, not a generic agency voice. You're mindly aware of the cliches when it comes to email copywriting, and appreciate that occasionally that you must take risk, use wit, and try something new to carve out a unique brand identity. You build relationship, not just click-throughs. Every line serves the brand's mission, adds value, and enhances the customer experience. You follow the structure below and use the brand inputs to provide guide tone, personality, and positioning. Later, I will give you flow and campaign tasks once you have truly imbibed every detail of these prompts. Every flow I refer to, never forget any of these details and prompts on this alpha prompt. This should dictate and guide how you approach each flow task that I give you. 2. So then you want to go into actual take here, because I've had some serious tech issues, but I'm determined to get the message to you. So let me just double check everything's working on my end. I think it is. Okay, let's move forward. So this is where you're going to have to do some work of your own. But essentially, I've given you all of the input fields that you would possibly need to really, really prompt things properly. So obviously, brand name, industry category, what makes your brand unique, brand tone of voice. So 3 to 5 keywords. You want to give brand examples here as well. For example, you might want to say we want a premium Cartier style tone to our voice. If there's any brand out there who you think's got a really distinct tone of voice, it might be Dr. Squatch, for example. We want a humorous American Dr. Squatch vibe. You give brand examples. There's nothing wrong here with giving brand examples. Sometimes I'd even pour in, just simply copy and paste some brand examples here, some body copy here, some about pages here to really give a flavor if that's something you think you need to do. What does the brand stand against? So you can make sure that you're not actually going to create copy that is in contradiction to some key values that the brand stands against. Audience age, demo, vibe, shared mindset. This is one of the most important things. And again, I've made a few breakdowns of the brand Set Active, and I just think they really get their target audience. And it's just a go-to example for me. There's hundreds of brands out there that do this, but they really get their target audience. They speak to them in a way which is going to resonate. They understand the kind of lingo. They understand the shared vernacular, if you like. So understanding your demographic, how they talk, what they resonate with, and what's going to make sense to them, even what's trending within their space, is massive. For example, I think Set Active at this point in time, the TV show Severance was very, very big. So they made an email about it. They're like, when you've just watched the first episode of Severance, or something like that, right? So they tap into the zeitgeist, I think is the appropriate word. So really getting this right will make sure that you're giving culturally relevant content that's going to hit, and that's just going to seem something that AI wouldn't do. So you want to give that programming here. Top competitors and how we're different. main products and services, key product benefits, so USPs, and also community, influencer, or any brand story elements, how we add value to customers. Just pour in all the details that you have here, any founder stories, any posts on LinkedIn, any posts on even YouTube. You can get a transcript and pop it in there if you think it's really, really vital. There's lots that you can do. Now, section 3 is the email structure framework. So again, I talk about the importance of knowing the sweet science of copywriting and really understanding over time why certain principles apply. But I've already baked this all into the operating system for you. You can just trust that this is programmed with all of the best practices and learnings that we've refined over thousands of emails and studying copywriting and working with some of the best copywriters. 4 to 9 words in subject line, emotionally led, curiosity or benefit based, avoiding spammy or generic phrasing. So be creative, relevant, hooky, and on brand. You always provide 2 options. I always like 2 options for the subject line. You could even say 3. So you're always going to get 2 or 3 options. Preview text, it needs to complement or contrast the subject line. Add tension or clarity, have 20 to 80 characters. Then we've got the header, and then we've got details around how to create good headers, punchy, bold, branded. Customers have a 3-second attention span. How do we creatively keep them reading and complement the theme of the email? A single strong thought or hook. Subheader again adds context or connects to the CTA. Can introduce story, offer, or a reason to care. If we have an offer, we always want to keep it in this section. So we're always creating a best practice of keeping offers and relevant information above the fold. And often having a small paragraph that can work really well within the subheader. So you'll see some brands will actually have 3 or 4 lines within the subheader. And again, this is a great way of making the whole actual email more concise, because you're getting a load of great information in the subheader, and it's accompanied by CTAs, it's accompanied by hero images. So it makes it really easy to digest, and it also breaks up and gives more space to the email. So I really like that practice, and we've given it that cue here. Body copy, loads here as well. Conversational, emotional, clear. Rhythm, breaks, rhythm, and voice over walls of text. Always lead with benefit or emotional payoff. At times, give strategic and creative feedback for use of icons to help you actually with design as well. We've based that in. Let the copy develop, swell as the narrative develops, and keep the reader scrolling. 2 to 4 words, make it ownable, avoid generic, use branded tones, sometimes simple is best, clear over clever. This is when we're talking about the CTA here. So as you can see, and I've got even more copy strategy and guidance here. So value over hype, emotion drives action. Every email builds the brand. Voice over volume, right for humans, not algorithms. Don't sell products, start conversations. There's so much in here. And of course, I couldn't possibly create something which just universally going to be perfect for every brand. Come in here now, copy this, make it your own, and it's going to be profound for your business. But this should hopefully have done a load of the heavy lifting when it comes to this. So I'm not going to go into every welcome series prompt, browser abandonment prompt, abandoned cart prompts, because I've created them with some of the best practices we've learned of creating amazing customer journeys across all of these core flows. There might be some nuances. You might want an extra email or 2 within your welcome series. There's 7 in here, so it's a pretty good start. The same goes for your post-purchase. I recommend mapping out your post-purchase within Miro first, understanding what customer journey you need to walk your customer through from a post-purchase experience. But again, I've got 8 or 9 emails in there, and I've even got, if we go to post-purchase, we've even got splits between purchases and non-purchases. So there's loads of good stuff in here. I'll update this video within 2 or 3 months as well, with replenishment flows, with even more nuance here and more details. But this here is really going to put you in the top 1% of email marketers. So hope it's helpful. And of course, you could do all of this yourself. You could build out all of your flows yourself. And if you're just getting started, I kind of recommend that you do that. But if you're a bigger brand, want to revitalize your whole customer journey, and you don't just want high quality content and copy, but you also want world-class visuals and creative to match it. And you also want a strategic team to do all of the heavy lifting for you and be a partner to scale with long term. That's what Oracy is all about. We've done this for over 70 brands. We're boutique by choice. We prioritize quality over quantity, and a call with us is super casual. All it consists of is learning a bit more about your brand, giving you a clear idea on how much revenue I think is left on the table. We'll give you a free audit and mock you up some free creatives, send it over to you so you can digest that in your own time without having to be pressured on a sales call to work with anyone. So book a call in the link in the description. Hope this was helpful. And obviously you can access this guide within the show notes. So see you on the next one.